Hello and welcome to another episode of the NBA 2K podcast. I'm your host, Rib, and there's lots to talk about shooting in this episode with a lot of the information coming out from 2K Lab, and I think people are starting to understand shooting in general now that it's just over a week of NBA 2K25. But first, let's talk about the patch notes. The most recent ones are actually worth mentioning, and that is the 1.4 patch notes that came out on Friday. The city addressed user-reported frame rate issues when playing games in Elite, Rice, and Beach Courts. A number of fixes and improvements made to Squad Finder feature. For those of you who have been looking to use Squad Finder and noticed that it wasn't working, try it now, I guess. The Shut It Down feature will now function as expected when playing Street Ball co-op games. I haven't played any Street Ball co-op games, but hopefully people, benefit from that. Resolved an exploit in the track that allowed users to achieve unrealistic times, so people were cheating in their racetracks, and hopefully that is completely fixed now. Maybe some of us can get a chance at winning that million VC. Probably not, but fix a disconnect that could occur when playing games with NBA players in the my court. That's all for the city. For gameplay, address the user-reported situation where players were prevented from being substituted when on extended hot streaks. This was a big issue that finally got fixed. And fixed an issue that would cause the takeover meter to drop down to tier 1 if already at tier 5 when team chemistry meter is filled. Again, that's a big issue that's gotten fixed. On the MyNBA side of things, arenas will now appear correctly when playing with all-time teams at home. Expansion teams will now have a proper floor when playing in the NBA Cup games as well. For the My Team side, a user-reported disconnect that could occur at the start of a showdown and salary cap game has been fixed. And on the PC side of things, fixed an issue that prevented the Symptonext appearance option from activating as expected in my career when playing on monitors with a particularly high refresh rate. Resolved an issue that could cause long hangs during the initial launch sequence. So, some PC fixes, which is neat to see. And I think that's all for the patch notes. I think the big one is the substitution fix. People are happy about that. And also on PC, the Symptonext appearance, which apparently has been broken for many years in 2K. Those of you that play on PC can rejoice. Now, on to the important topic at hand, the green windows in NBA 2K25. Big topic of discussion. I've talked about them before in different podcast episodes. There's a graph, and I will link the Reddit post that shows this graph. The graph is from 2K Lab. The post is from a Reddit user. I'll post a link to this post in the description. But it's a graph that shows the time, and it shows the number of shots, and it shows how large the green window is in between the milliseconds. So the first 4 shots, pretty similar. Every shot is around 550-ish to 600 milliseconds. You can green window a shot in that frame. But after 4 shots, it jumps. The green window jumps to, nowhere near 550 to 600. It's actually like 600 to 650 for whatever reason. Now, my first question with this that hasn't been answered is, are the green windows continuously changing? Or is there a reset? Like, let's say at like 8 or 9 jumpers, does the window reset back to the same time as the first green window? Does that make sense, what I'm asking? Obviously, the green window's changing all the time is to stop people that use devices like a Zen or a Titan, which is meant to, allow you to, green your shot every time. If the green window is different every time, those devices are kind of obsolete. Yeah, so obviously there's some people that like it because it's realistic, some people say, and other people don't like it because it doesn't reward you for learning your shot, right? You have to learn the animation instead, is what they're saying basically. People want some people want people to have to shoot and not be able to shoot perfectly every game. Now, a part of me understands that, the wanting people to miss every now and again. But part of me is like, it's a game of skill, and it's a simulation of basketball. And in basketball, if you put enough time in, you get better at shooting, right? There's a reason Steph Curry is a better shooter than, anybody who's not. He puts way more time in. It's a skill that he's developed over many years, over lots and lots of practices and shooting. And not to say that there's other players that, they practice as much and they're not as good. I'm sure that that's a thing. But we have to find a balance between video game and real life, I guess. And to me, in video games, if you put enough time in, a lot like a sport, you should be able to get better at it. Hey 2K community, are you a competitive player who likes money? Prove it on Gamer Saloon, the ultimate arena for NBA 2K players. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, Gamer Saloon lets you challenge players from around the world and win real cash prizes. So no more playing 1v1s to brag about it. Now you can get paid for winning. Gamer Saloon offers a seamless platform with various tournaments and head-to-head matches, perfect for every level of player. Listeners of the NBA 2K podcast can sign up today at gamersaloon.com/ribpodcast. All one word, gamersaloon.com/ribpodcast. Link in the description. And what this green window mechanic is telling you is that it doesn't matter how much you practice timing, you have to look at your character's animations. So this year, the shots are not based on timing as much as they are on animation, meaning slower shots. If you have a slower shot, it should be easier for you to time your shot more consistently than somebody with a super, super fast jumper. Because of the green window changes. Now, I think the cue for the shot is the same. It's always based, like if you have a release cue, your shot is always going to be release cue for when you release the ball. But the animation for the release cue is not always going to be the same. And this might be problematic for a lot of the newer people. A lot of people that have been playing the game for a long time as well. It's something that's going to take getting used to. And some people are saying that, shooting is basically a slot machine. It's RNG, random number generated. For those of you who don't know what RNG is, it's a mechanic that's in a lot of fighting games, like in MMOs, like and drops. Specifically talking about loot drops in games. It's usually the game will randomize a number, and if you hit that number, you get the drop, and if you don't, you don't get the drop. But that mechanic of RNG being in shooting in a basketball game is I've had such a hard time trying to come to terms with this as I'm recording this podcast. And I've thought about it and the pros and the cons. And I get it, But at the same time, I feel like this is just going to make people want to. They're going to try to exploit shooting somehow. Because there might be some ways to maybe shoot more consistently off of some crazy animation. Maybe there's a way, or maybe rhythm shooting is just rhythm shooting. Maybe that's what we all need to be doing. Maybe that's maybe that's the answer. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I've been seeing people, and I think I mentioned this in the last episode, people are shooting in lower risk, normal risk shots over high risk shots because both shots don't have a 100% pure green window. So why shoot on high risk is the mentality that a lot of these people are having. And these are not just casuals of this mentality. There's people out there that are big time players, big time 2K players that played in the league and things like that. And it's just such a mess. It's a mess. I'm sure some people are enjoying it, but my goodness, it's tough. I think dribbling is fine. At first, it seemed like it was a little broken. I didn't really know what to do with it, but it seems good now. I'm fine with the dribbling. I'm fine with the speed boosts that you have, the way that you're supposed to get them. I'm fine with all that. I'm fine with the L2 cancel being kind of there, kind of not there. I'm fine with all of that. The shooting, though, I mean, let me know what you think. If you're listening to this and you have your own thoughts about it, let me know what you think about the shooting in 2K25. Ultimately, and I guess I'll leave it at that, I think ultimately they will patch it. They will make it normal, whatever that means, in Season 2. People are just going to have to figure it out for now. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sure there is a percentage of people that maybe they thought they were good last year and now are like flabbergasted that they can't shoot this year. But I'm seeing some people that I knew or I know are good people that know how to shoot. Every 2K they know how to shoot. And the fact that they're changing their queue time to be lower is just, I feel like that's not the way 2K thought things were going to go. Look, the thing with rhythm shooting, just to speak a little bit more on it, it's a good mechanic. I recommend it. Do stick shooting. It's a lot easier to green. My thing is it's not easy to green for everybody. I have small hands. Dribbling and then having to adjust the analog stick to shoot, and it's the same stick to dribble and to shoot. It's not ideal. And because I'm on PS5, there aren't any custom controllers I can buy that are better for my hands. And I'm sure there's a lot of people, maybe having extremely big hands is probably also not a good thing for the same reason. I don't know. But it's tough. It's tough. It's a tough situation. I don't know how to feel about the whole thing with the green window and the shooting mechanic. I'm in the middle right now. I'm not like, I hate it, I need this different. But I'm also not like, wow, this is so much fun. And I think purely it's just the green windows being different every time. I don't think RNG should be in the green window. I think there has to be a different mechanic that we could use. But for now, that's what we have to handle, I guess, what we have to deal with. And look, there's a lot of people not happy with this. In the 2K subreddit, on Twitter, whatever. A lot of people are not happy, and yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. I guess going into week 2 of 2K25 and week 3, and eventually season 2. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it at that for this one. I just wanted to talk about the green windows on this episode and the shooting mechanic overall. Yeah, could be fun. Maybe in a few weeks we'll all enjoy it. Maybe not. Maybe we'll hate it more. But thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, let me know. Leave some feedback, and I'll catch you on the next one.